Hi there. I wanted to make this video because yesterday I got a message from my niece telling me that she'd lost something, and she was asking me if there was any kind of meditation that she could do in order to find it. Now, I recommended doing pendulum dowsing, which she hadn't even heard of, which really kind of surprised me. And it made me realise that actually quite a lot of people are not aware of how pendulum dowsing works or how to use it. Now, I've used it quite a lot and I want to share a couple of my experiences with you, but before I do that, I want to quickly show you how you do pendulum dowsing. Now, this is my wedding ring. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need like a crystal pendulum or anything like that. But if you've got something that's heavy, like a nut, like from a nut and a bolt or anything like that, or a wedding ring, or really anything at all that's got a little bit of weight to it that you can tie a piece of string to, or a piece of cotton or something like this, then you've got a pendulum. You just need something that you can hold in your hand and it can swing quite freely. So what you do, the way that you do pendulum dowsing, is you want to get a yes response from the pendulum and a no response from it. And to do that, you hold it in your hand quite still, and then you ask it to give you a yes response. So I'm getting I don't know if it's picking this up on the camera, but it's swinging backwards and forwards, kind of like towards me and towards you. So now I'm going to hold that still, and I'm going to say, give me a no response. And I get, as I do this, it's swinging left and right. Now I know that those swinging movements are coming because I'm moving my arm. I'm not doing it consciously, but there are very subtle movements that are happening in my arm that are causing it to go this way, which is obviously very exaggerated, or this way. Now, that means that it's kind of those movements are subconscious. So my subconscious mind is saying, these are the movements that we're going to do if we want to say yes to you, and that's going to make the pendulum swing this way. So the pendulum kind of exaggerates the movements that are going on in your arm. And my subconscious mind is also saying, these are the movements that we're going to do if we want a no response, and that's going to swing this way. So I've got a yes, which is this. Obviously, I'm now doing this consciously, and I've got a no, which is that. Once I've got a definite yes or a no, I can then ask yes or no questions. So my niece had lost something, and she was asking questions like, is it in the bathroom? And she got a pendulum, and she went with it, and she got a yes response to say, yes, it's in the bathroom. And then that can narrow down your search. So you can go into the bathroom, and you can say, is it in the bathroom cabinet? And then get a yes or a no, and things like that. So that's kind of how pendulum dowsing works, but I want to share with you an experience that I had several years ago, not using a pendulum, but using exactly the same principle, and I call this traffic light dowsing. And pop this back on my finger. I live in Colombia, and over here we wear our wedding rings on your right hand instead of your left hand, which I find very unusual. But there we go. While I'm in Colombia, it stays over here, and whenever I'm in England, I shift it over to that hand so people know that I'm married. But anyway, many years ago, I was in England. I was in Combe Abbey near Coventry. And I was with several of my friends, and we'd been wandering around the woods, and we'd been walking for miles all around Combe Abbey estate. Been playing in the playground and walking over the fields, going around the bird watching areas everywhere. And when I got back to my car, I realised I'd lost my car keys. Now, this was at night time, so it was very dark. And I stood in the car park, I didn't really know what to do, I had no idea where I'd lost them, so I decided to try dowsing. Now, I didn't have a pendulum or anything like that, but I did something that I call traffic light dowsing, where I just close my eyes, I point my hand out in front of me like this, and then I imagine a set of traffic lights. And if they're green, then I go in that direction. If they're red, then I just turn around slowly in a circle until I can get a green light. So I stand still and I rotate in a circle until the traffic lights turn green that I'm visualizing in my mind. Now, when the traffic lights turn green, I then walk in that direction, seeing the traffic light in my mind until it changes to red. When it changes to red, I stop. And then I put my hand out again and I rotate around in a circle, imagining the traffic lights until it changes back from red to green. And I continue doing that process. So I walk along, stop, rotate, walk along in my new direction, stop, rotate. And the traffic light in my mind tells me whether I should be rotating or stopping and going that way, or whether I should be continuing to walk in that direction or stopping to find a new direction. Now, if you know Combe Abbey, it's quite a big country park. It's very large. And actually, as it goes, I mentioned my wedding ring. I actually proposed to my wife in Combe Abbey several years later. It was the first time my wife had been to England. We went to Combe Abbey, and I proposed to her there in one of the hotel rooms in Combe Abbey. So a little quick aside there. But I was walking around the Combe Abbey country grounds, and I was doing the traffic light thing, and my friends were all following me around, and I was leading them through the woods, and we seemed to be going off in some general direction. And I stopped because the traffic light had turned red, and I stuck my hand out and started to rotate around in a circle, trying to get the traffic light to go back to green. So that's what I'm doing. I've got my eyes closed, I've got my hand out, and I'm turning around in a circle, and I was aware that I'd gone more than 360 degrees. And I thought, that's weird, I haven't yet got a green light. So I kept my eyes closed, I carried on spinning around, and I spun round maybe 2.5 times, and I said to my friends, I can't get a green light. Now, I'd explained to them what I was doing, and I stood there and I was like, I don't know what to do, I can't get a green light. And I looked down at the floor, and between my feet, on the floor in the grass, were my car keys. I was standing on top of them, and we'd walked all around that country park. It was absolutely amazing. So there's a quick example of how dowsing can work. I was using traffic light dowsing, but using a bit of string like this, maybe a ring or anything that's heavy, you can create a pendulum. You can then get your subconscious mind to give you a response that means yes, a response that means no. It might be rotating in a circle one way and the other. It might be swinging backwards and forwards, left and right. But your subconscious mind is giving you that signal, just as equally as my subconscious mind was presenting me with either a red traffic light or a green traffic light. Now, I believe that my subconscious mind knows where I dropped those keys. So my subconscious mind knew where they were. It just needed a way to direct me to that place. I also believe that my niece knows where whatever it is that she's lost. I can't remember what it was. It might have been a ring. I'm not sure. I think it was. But whatever she's lost, her subconscious mind probably knows where it is. Now, I'm going to go a little deeper than this, and I'm going to say that my subconscious mind knows where my keys were because it was probably aware of when I dropped them. But let's say if it was somebody else's keys, somebody's keys that were dropped when I were not with them. Can I still use this technique? Well, yes, I can. I absolutely believe that my subconscious mind has a connection to everybody else's. And if anybody has that information, or if that information is anywhere available, then my subconscious mind has access to that as long as I've got a method that it can use to communicate that answer to me. I also believe that everything is energy. If I lose my car keys are energy, and my subconscious mind can connect to the energy of those car keys and find out where they are. So even though in this case I did obviously drop them, and probably a part of me noticed where I dropped them, and that would explain why that part of me was able to give that information over to me by using the different traffic lights in my mind, I absolutely believe that it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who lost it or where it is or whether you've never had any experience of it before, or even if you don't know what the thing is. As long as you're aware that you are looking for something and you can connect to the energy of that thing at a subconscious level, which I believe that we all can, all you need then is a method of communication. You need your conscious mind to say, keep on walking, stop. Okay, rotate around, stop. Okay, now walk in that direction and stop. And the method that I used for that was the traffic lights. The method that my niece is using is obviously a pendulum. She's actually got a very, very nice pendulum. It's actually a crystal on a piece of chain. She didn't realise that it was a pendulum that you might use for dowsing. She just thought it was a decorative item, but it is actually a dowsing pendulum. But I don't think you need a special crystal. You can use a ring on a piece of string or whatever you choose, or you can even just use an image in your mind. So there we go, guys. That's how you do dowsing. Please comment on this video and tell me about your dowsing experiences. Have you lost something, not been able to find it whatsoever, and then used dowsing to be able to locate that in a similar way to how I found my keys? You know, a lost pet, a lost item, anything at all. Just let me know your experiences with finding things through using dowsing, the method that you use, and share that with the community because it's probably going to help people. Now, very quickly before I finish, I'll just say that another thing that I've done a few times with dowsing is to kind of draw out a plan of my area and then just point at an area on the plan and then with a pendulum ask, is it in this section here? Is it in this zone? Yes or no? Is it in this zone? Yes or no? And then I go to that physical location and start looking for the thing. So that's something I've done in the past to find a lost pet. Now, if you lose a pet, obviously you don't know where you've lost it. You've not dropped it. The pet has gone out and not come back and you have no idea where it is. So it's a way that you can find something that might not always be in the same location as well. So there we go, that's dowsing. As I say, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about my dowsing experience and tell me about yours. You take care and have an awesome day. Bye bye.